What is up, guys, and we are back with another video. All right, guys, so the video we're going to be reacting to today is called Why You Should Not Feel Bad for Danielle's Situation. Now, obviously, you guys know the situation and everything that's happened, right? I think I have a feeling about what's probably going to be said in this video, but I just want to react to it because it's a very, it's a hard-hitting title there. Like, a lot of people do feel sorry for her. A lot of her fans do. A lot of fans of New Jeans do. A lot of people that, maybe fans as well probably don't feel as sorry for her. So there's a lot of different opinions about this. So, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video for more reaction videos about this and other stuff as well. Come back to the channel.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had an enjoyable 2025 because this is officially the first video of 2026. And honestly, if 2025 was the year of the New Jeans versus Adore saga, then 2026 is already shaping up to be the year of Danielle versus Adore, which looks like it's going to be an even bigger legal mess. And yes, I'll be covering all of it, along with everything else happening in K-pop. 2026 doesn't look like it's slowing down at all. And with that said, let's get straight into the video because once again, updates keep coming in regarding the Danielle and Adore situation, along with a lot of opinions circulating online, many of which I personally don't agree with. Before we jump in though, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any updates, especially with how fast this situation keeps developing. And just a quick reminder that almost all of my videos include timestamps, so you can easily jump to the parts you care about, and all sources are linked in the description. Now let's get into what's actually going on. First, let's talk about the biggest update. Adore has officially filed their lawsuit against Danielle. According to legal circles on the 30th, the lawsuit seeking penalties and damages filed by Adore against Danielle, her family, and former Adore CEO Min Hee-jin has officially been assigned to the 31st Civil Agreement Division of the Seoul Central District Court, presided over by Judge Na Min-soo. Adore is reportedly claiming approximately 43.1 billion Korean won in damages, and as of now, a date for the first hearing has not yet been set. To understand how we even got here, let's quickly rewind. Previously, the New Jeans members publicly demanded the reinstatement of former CEO Min Hee-jin after she was dismissed due to internal conflict with HYBE. When that demand wasn't accepted, the members declared the termination of their contracts with Adore back in November. Adore immediately pushed back, stating that this was a unilateral declaration, and filed a lawsuit to confirm the validity of the exclusive contracts, along with an injunction. The court ultimately ruled in Adore's favor, confirming that the exclusive contracts were still valid. Following that ruling, Haerin and Haein announced their intention to return to Adore. Minji, Hani, and Danielle also expressed their intent to return, at least publicly. Adore then continued discussions with Minji, Hani, and Danielle, but things took a sharp turn when Adore terminated Danielle's contract the day before officially filing this lawsuit. And that brings us to the next major development, because Danielle did not stay silent. According to reports, Danielle immediately appointed a legal representative on December 31st and submitted a power of attorney to the court in response to Adore's lawsuit. This lawsuit, once again, is seeking approximately 43.1 billion Korean won, which is roughly 30 million US dollars in damages. Danielle herself, her family, and former Adore CEO Min Hee-jin have all been named as defendants. This alone tells us that Danielle is preparing to actively fight back, not just passively respond. Appointing legal representation, this quickly signals that this case is not going to be short, quiet, or simple. If anything, it confirms what a lot of people suspected. This isn't just a contract dispute anymore. It's a full-scale legal battle involving multiple parties, reputations, money, and power dynamics inside one of the biggest K-pop companies. What's especially interesting here is how fast everything escalated. Adore terminates her contract, files a lawsuit almost immediately, and Danielle responds just as quickly by lawyering up. This suggests that both sides were likely preparing for this outcome long before it became public.
Yeah. I mean, she was like one of the most more kind of active voices, right? I'm trying to think of another word for it, but she was one of the most people out of the whole group that was really speaking up the most. But the thing is, for me, is will she actually win against this company? I don't know, like, just how the music industry works, I doubt it. I don't know, because a lot of these music companies, one, they have a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of the times, a lot of people benefit off these music companies doing well. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Maybe this has happened before in K-pop, but I don't know.
Of this feels spontaneous. And honestly, this is where 2026 already feels different from 2025. Last year was about public statements, emotional appeals, court rulings, and fandom wars. This year, it feels like it's going to be about hard evidence, legal documents, financial claims, and accountability, whether people like it or not. So now the real questions begin. How strong is Ador's case when it comes to damages? What exactly will Danielle's legal team argue in response? And how much information that's been hidden behind vague statements and media spin is about to come out once this goes to court? Because one thing is clear, this situation is no longer about public sympathy. It's about what can actually be proven. But things are getting even more crazy, because the New Jeans fandom, known as Bunnies, has now taken things directly to the government. Fans have reportedly flooded the Ministry of Culture with protest faxes over Ador's lawsuit against Danielle, and the situation is getting extremely messy, so let's talk about it. According to reports on December 31st, hundreds of protest faxes from New Jeans fans were received by the Office of Culture Minister Choi Hui-young at the government complex in Sejong. Since early that morning, documents with identical content continued arriving in large volumes, overwhelming the office. These petitions call for government intervention, accusing Ador of retaliation and of causing harm to its artists through legal action. However, despite the volume of complaints, it is widely understood that concrete government action is unlikely. The dispute stems from an exclusive contract conflict between a private company and an artist, an area where direct government involvement is generally considered inappropriate. A ministry official reportedly commented, "We cannot tell them not to file a lawsuit, and even if we were to look into the matter, there appears to be little we can actually do." In other words, while the ministry may receive and acknowledge the complaints, their ability to intervene is extremely limited. The protest documents themselves argue that Ador's decision to file a damages claim worth tens, and potentially hundreds, of billions of won against a single member contradicts previous commitments made in court and appears to be an act of retaliation against an idol who raised concerns about rights violations. Fans also claim that the lawsuit functions as a warning shot toward the remaining members, framing Danielle as an example of what could happen if others resist or step out of line. The petitions go even further, accusing Ador of allegedly forcing apologies that frame the entire situation as a misunderstanding caused by the members, while positioning the company as faultless. Fans claim this dynamic strips the artists of agency and reframes legitimate grievances as confusion or manipulation. They argue that global K-pop fans do not want to support an industry that lacks basic human rights, and that the situation has gone beyond a private contract dispute into something that reflects on South Korea's cultural industry as a whole. Because overseas fans are unable to send faxes, Bunnies have also encouraged international participation through social media. Fans have been tagging President Lee Jae-myung's X account, formerly Twitter, urging him to intervene and warning that the controversy could negatively impact South Korea's global image.
Wow, okay. Whoa. South Korea's global image will be affected by this one. I mean, look, right, I'm not, you know what? Even though the way the person in this video is framing it, right, she's obviously gonna, I'm assuming she's gonna say this, it's all a bit silly, which K-pop fans are crazy. They're like next level, because I know you do see this for the fans, for other artists, bro, but I don't know, man. I feel like K-pop fans are sending loads of letters directly to the government. Like, I've never seen that before with any artist over here in the West, so I don't know. Well, that is insane, but main point being, look, again, some of the stuff they're saying is probably kind of right from an emotional standpoint, right? It probably was to make an example in some ways, maybe, right? I mean, there are other arguments that she might have actually violated a contract, so you could just say, well, she violated a contract, it's her own fault, which might be said later on in this video as well. So if that is, I guess, proven, then obviously there's nothing you can do about it, whether you like her or not. But it's a little crazy. I get it, yo, you're a fan of it. It's a little crazy, but going tagging the president in this, I mean, unless something more serious is uncovered, maybe unless something like more serious happened to her. But yeah, look, as a company, right? If you look at it from their perspective, they're gonna try and protect the assets and the artists, and they're going to try and recover what money that they feel like they should, or like they feel like they can get back from her. So, and again, like this video said, if she lawyered up straight away, if she was prepared, then it's looking like this is the outcome she may have wanted anyway. So, but let's see.
Messages from international fans echo the same sentiment, that the government should not remain passive while one of the country's most visible girl groups is caught in a prolonged legal and ethical controversy. This is also not the first time New Jeans fandom has taken coordinated action like this. Just last month, fans sent a similar wave of protest faxes following the court ruling that confirmed the validity of New Jeans' exclusive contracts with Adore. After Adore failed to give a clear and immediate response regarding the return of members Minji, Hani, and Danielle, fans demanded an investigation into whether coercion, pressure, or inducement was used during the return process. Similar protest documents were also delivered to lawmakers on the National Assembly's Culture, Sports, and Tourism Committee, showing a consistent pattern of escalation. Honestly, and this is where my personal opinion comes in, many people, myself included, believe this is doing more damage to New Jeans' image than actually helping them. Instead of strengthening public sympathy, these actions are giving other fandoms and netizens ammunition to mock the situation. To a lot of outsiders, this level of escalation looks excessive, especially when the core issue revolves around contract violations. At the end of the day, the situation looks very straightforward to many observers. Danielle did not fulfill the terms of her contract, engaged in independent activities, and signed other agreements while still under Adore. She has openly stated that she does not want to return and will never go back. Yet neither she nor her side has clearly articulated what Adore allegedly did that was so severe. That lack of clarity is what keeps tripping things up. There are repeated claims of mistreatment, but no concrete explanation publicly laid out, while at the same time demanding intervention and support. This ongoing contradiction is exactly why public opinion continues to shift, and why these protest actions, instead of protecting Danielle or the group, are increasingly being viewed as counterproductive. The louder the escalation gets, the more people start questioning what is actually being hidden and why it can never be clearly said out loud. Also, there's been a lot of conversation lately about whether New Jeans should apologize or not, and both industry experts and netizens are weighing in heavily on this, so let's get into it. We've already touched on this before, but to repeat the situation clearly, on December 29th, Adore officially announced the termination of Danielle's exclusive contract. With that decision, many are now questioning what New Jeans even looks like moving forward. Will they promote as a 3-member group or a 4-member group? With Hani's return confirmed, everything now seems to hinge on Minji's decision. However, even if more members return, the industry itself is far from optimistic. Industry analysts have been increasingly vocal about the fact that a simple return does not equal a full recovery. Many believe that even if Minji rejoins, it will not automatically revive New Jeans as they once were. The core issue is the damage done to their public image and the loss of trust over the past year, something experts say cannot be repaired easily or quickly. Public perception of New Jeans has undeniably shifted. The group originally debuted with a clean, youthful, almost untouchable image, but that image has been diluted by prolonged disputes, public statements, and legal conflict. A major turning point was their attempt to leave Adore while openly prioritizing their personal bond with Min Hee-jin over their contractual obligations. That move backfired heavily once the court ruled.
Yeah, it does when you put it like that, and because there's not been any other, I guess, not that I've seen anyway. Maybe this video is wrong, maybe there's a bit more evidence, but not that I've seen as well. I do get that. For me personally as a fan of the group, I don't really care. I don't really care personally. I still listen to them anyway. It doesn't really change my perspective of them. It's not like they did something so horrible. They just wanted to get out of a contract, like so many people have tried to do in the past in the music industry. So I don't know. Me personally, I don't think it really changes their image as much as this person that's making this videos making out to seem. But at the same time, I don't know, career is different, so I don't know, maybe it will, it probably will for a lot of people. For me, not really.
That their exclusive contracts were, in fact, valid. As a result, New Jeans are no longer just viewed as talented idols caught in a corporate mess. Many in the general public now see them as irresponsible idols. This label isn't limited to antis or rival fandoms. It has spread into neutral spaces and general public opinion. The situation worsened when some members reversed their stance and returned to Adore without addressing the harm caused, particularly toward other hype groups that were dragged into the controversy, such as ILIT. This is where the apology debate really intensifies. Many in the industry believe that returning to activities without a formal apology is unrealistic. From this perspective, acknowledging the damage done, regardless of intent, is necessary to rebuild credibility. To these observers, an apology isn't about humiliation or blame. It's about accountability and resetting the narrative before moving forward. Netizens, however, are deeply divided. One side firmly believes that New Jeans or Adore owe an apology before anything else happens. They argue that real damage was done, reputational relationally, emotionally, and professionally, especially to other groups who were caught in the crossfire. To them, attempting to move on without acknowledging that harm feels entitled, and they reject the idea that new jeans should be exempt from basic accountability simply because of their popularity or age. On the other hand, there is a strong opposing view that Hybe is the party that should be apologizing, not new jeans. This side sees the members as protected, manipulated, or misled within a larger corporate power struggle. They argue that placing responsibility on the members is unfair, and that demanding apologies from them shifts attention away from corporate decisions and internal conflicts that were out of the members' control. There's also a growing layer of frustration centered around double standards. Many commenters feel that new jeans continue to receive leniency and protection that other groups would never be afforded in a similar situation. They argue that if another rookie group had attempted to terminate contracts, publicly challenged their agency, and then quietly returned, they would have been dragged relentlessly. This perceived imbalance has fueled resentment, sarcasm, and increasingly harsh language.
I mean, look, I don't know how other groups are treated per se, so I won't claim to be a complete expert on stuff. But I guess, I don't want to be all, well, that's just how life works. Stuff's unfair. But I don't know. Maybe the stance is wrong. And look, if someone in the comments disagrees, let me know. But popular, or if you're in the music, and from what I've seen, if you're a bigger artist, you're generally going to be treated with more consideration, and people are going to give you a little bit more lee room than other groups. I just think that's just how it works. To me, it's just how it works. I don't know if it just is what it is. If you're a bigger group, you're going to be treated better. Obviously, it's just how it's just how it is. I don't know. Then again, you look at a group like Blackpink, and maybe not. I don't know.
Not just toward the group, but toward the fandom as well. At this point, the debate isn't really just about whether an apology should happen. It's about who holds power, who caused harm, and who keeps avoiding accountability. New jeans are now positioned in the middle of a much larger battle involving fandoms, corporate influence, public trust, and industry expectations. And no matter what direction they take next, it's clear that the fallout from this situation is far from over. But it doesn't stop there, because now other fandoms are actively getting pulled into this situation, and that's where things start getting even messier. Lee Seraphim's fandom, Fear Not, has now entered the conversation in a very visible way, after reports surfaced that protest trucks were sent requesting that New Jeans and Lee Seraphim work in separate office buildings, essentially asking Hybe to keep physical and operational distance between the two groups.
Alright, relax, guys. What are we doing? They're obviously professionals. What are we? I don't know. That's weird to me, bro.
So let's get into why this is even happening in the first place. For context, this tension didn't—
I'm a massive Le Seraphim fan. I find it even bigger than New Jeans. I do prefer their music, but come on, guys.
Come out of nowhere. A while back, New Jeans accused Lee Seraphim of stealing a Louis Vuitton brand deal, and yes, this claim was reportedly used as part of their argument when attempting to justify terminating their contracts. That accusation immediately caused backlash, especially because at the time, all New Jeans members already held individual luxury brand deals. So when Lee Seraphim landed a Louis Vuitton partnership, the idea that it was taken from New Jeans didn't sit right with a lot of people. Source Music eventually stepped in and released a statement clarifying the situation, explicitly denying the claim and even stating they would pursue legal measures to address the allegations. But by then, the damage had already been done. Lee Seraphim received major hate, largely because many people didn't bother to look deeper into the timeline or the official statements. Instead, the narrative spread quickly.
Wait, but who said it though? Who actually said it? Was it New Jeans himself that said it?
Online, and Lee Seraphim were effectively thrown under the bus in the middle of a dispute that wasn't even theirs to begin with. And this is where a lot of Fear Not frustration comes from, because from their perspective, this isn't a one-time incident. They feel like Lee Seraphim has repeatedly been used as collateral damage in conflicts that revolve around New Jeans and Min Hee-jin, while paying the price in public backlash. That frustration is now overlapping with the current sympathy wave surrounding Danielle. A lot of people online feel bad for her, believing she's being unfairly kicked out, but others argue that the situation is far more complicated. Reports claim that Danielle participated in activities that went against Ador's expectations, including a collaboration with Omega that was allegedly meant to involve the full group, as well as signing another contract without agency approval. On top of that, there were allegations that the group did not fully comply with a court-issued injunction, which resulted in penalties. While this reportedly involved the entire group at the time, Danielle was was still included, and repeated breaches would naturally increase financial consequences. This is why some people are pushing back hard against the pure victim narrative. They argue that the $30 billion lawsuit figure, while shocking, could have been higher depending on damages and penalties, especially if injunction breaches occurred multiple times. Whether people agree with that or not, it adds another layer to why emotions are so heated on all sides. Now, circling back to Ellie Seraphim, it's important to note that Min Hee-jin is currently being sued by Source Music for defamation, with claims of reputational harm amounting to millions of won. And this is the same person New Jeans publicly aligned themselves with, to the point that many believe they jeopardized their careers for her. So when Fear Not say they want complete separation, it's not just about petty fandom drama. It's about protecting their group from being dragged into another round of backlash, press narratives, or legal fallout. That brings us to the viral post about the trucks, which reportedly reached close to 1 million views. The OP made it very clear they didn't want engagement or escalation, stating, "Do not get involved in any way, and do not mention it either. I don't want to be entangled even a little bit." But the slides that followed were extremely direct. They emphasized that in 4 years, Fear Nots have only sent 2 trucks, both specifically requesting office building separation. They framed it as a conviction-based request, not an attack, and called on Hybe to take legal action against those who have harassed Ellie Seraphim for over 1.5 years. What really stood out to people was the language framing Ellie Seraphim as the victims, not participants. The post accused management of using the group as shields, dragging them into press conferences, court narratives, and public misunderstandings. The message was clear. Fear Nots do not want reconciliation, forced apologies, or proximity. They don't want their group associated with New Jeans again in any capacity. And judging by the comments, a lot of people agreed. So what are my thoughts? Honestly, this situation perfectly shows how collateral damage works in K-pop corporate wars. Lisa Seraphim didn't ask to be involved, yet they were named, accused, and attacked, and now their fandom is drawing a hard boundary. Wanting physical separation doesn't feel unreasonable when trust has been completely broken, and past accusations still haven't been fully resolved in the public eye. At the same time, this also shows how deeply fractured Hybe's internal ecosystem has become, because when fandoms are begging for separation instead of unity, that's a sign of long-term damage. At the end
that is a great point.
Of the day, this isn't just about buildings or trucks. It's about fear of history repeating itself and fandoms trying to protect their artists from being dragged into yet another controversy they didn't create. And until accountability is clearly addressed by companies, not idols, this divide isn't going anywhere. And that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, guys, I'll link it down below. But you know what annoys me so much about, like, I would love to hear, you know the way over here you have like beefs where you'll have the artists going at each other, right? A little tiny part of me wishes K-pop groups were like that, just to hear the opinions of the different members. But let me read some of the comments. I think personally, for me, I agree with probably like 90% of this video in terms of like, you look at the situation, if you look at it simply, right, it was a contract that they obviously didn't want to uphold, right, because they lost the leader and they tried to go to court with it, and obviously it failed. And then I think it is, you know what it is, to bash them for going back. I understand that, because you took the stand of, look, I want to leave, and then after that you sign back with them once the court doesn't rule in your favor. Now you could go, well, what they're gonna do? What are they gonna get sued? Do you want them to get sued? Right? Which, fair play, I guess. But at the same time, you could go, well, you could argue Danielle's maybe the only one that's actually standing on the decision that they all made, right? You could look at it from that front. Is like she's actually the only one that's standing on standing on their actual original goal. But just gotta see it develop. But I get it though. I get it. I get what the Seraphim fans are saying, because I'm a massive fan of the group as well. So and I think their music is great. So I get it. Right. And to be honest, I seen everything on the Seraphim where like they were saying, the brand deal thing, and then they were saying that the Seraphim were talking about New Jeans and all that other stuff. Let's see the comments though. The government needs to say, stop bothering us with your dumb drama because it's stupid. It is silly to for the fans to go all the way to the government for a contract dispute like this, especially when there's not been like the video said, especially when there's not been like heavy evidence where, you know, like you would think it was like a human rights violation, which some people allege there isn't. Maybe there could be, but nothing we've seen yet. People act like two things can't be true at the same time. You absolutely can hold Hybe accountable while also expecting Eugene to apologize to Illit and the Seraphim as well. After all, they dragged them into this mess and especially instigated a mass hate train against them both. Wanting an apology is not an insane expectation. I don't know. We'll have to see, but you know what, especially for the members that come back, maybe you should apologize. Actually, you know what, yeah, you know what, I agree with this, because if you're not gonna I don't think Danielle needs, the reason why I don't think Danielle needs to, right, is because she's actually from what it, hey look guys, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, she's actually standing on what she said, right? She wanted to leave and she's left and she's fighting in court. So I don't know if she necessarily has to apologize, but if you're going back, and yeah, I feel like the rest of the members probably should apologize if you're one of the members that have gone back, I feel like. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. Bunnies are so delusional. Y'all are equally at fault for this mess, because why on earth did the entire fandom support them on the self-destruction mission over the MHJ's feeling, Min and Jin's feelings? Nobody dragged them into this. They inserted themselves in a situation that had nothing really to do with them. Used the outlandish claims to gain public sympathy, and then start to cry publicly when they couldn't terminate their contracts over vibes. Those are simply the consequences of their actions, and Danielle Loki shouldn't be the only one. They all deserve to be jobless together with that vile woman and her shaman. It actually makes me mad to say that, because I really like them. You know what? And you know what? If they'd all been like, look, we're still leaving, we'll take the hit, then I would disagree with this comment. And the thing about Danielle as well, why I agree and disagree is because if she was actually doing stuff while in a contract, then that's just dumb. I don't know why someone around her didn't tell her not to do that. I think that's a bit, especially after the court rulings, that is dumb. But especially the rest of the members that went back, I completely agree with this. And this is what, even though maybe if something did or didn't happen, because you went back, because you're still, then this is how people are going to treat the situation. So I don't blame people. But guys, look, this video's been long enough. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you feel sorry for Danielle, or do you just not care? Or me personally, like I said, guys, I mostly agree with this video, but at the same time, I think, hey, she's standing on what she said. But guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and let me know what you think about the situation in the comments.